The markets are crashing and we have reasons why. We're going to tell you, should you jump in? Is now the time? Is it too late? Is it too early? I might buy a coin live on stream. We're just going to say, what the heck is going on with the markets? It's time to discover crypto.
We're going to zero.
Capital flight is coming to the United States. The dollar is going to zero.
And that's what makes Bitcoin so special.
You have to have gone through a couple cycles to understand.
Once the price is able to clear this level, the breakout is on its way.
This is your indication to jump in now.
It's okay, everybody. We're going to hold your hand because it's not only when should you buy, it's also what should you buy, and it's also how you should buy. Should you buy with a very short-term exit strategy, a long-term exit strategy? What kind of coins? Should you be buying, with a DCA? Should you just be deploying all the capital at once? We're going to have a lot of answers for you. I know for a lot of people, this is your first major dip. That's okay. Why don't you go ahead and dip that finger down to the like button and give us a like. Let's shock the YouTube algorithm, everybody. Let's just get right into the charts. Actually, let's not. Let's pause. Josh, how are you doing? You're in your hot look, man. You're looking sharp in the leather.
I know. Gotta get a leather jacket on today. Feeling good. But no, markets they're pulling back a little bit this morning. So it's been fun just looking through Twitter and everything, looking at everybody immediately panic. Yeah. It is back and forth. Oh, 73K, we're going to go to 80K. And then as soon as we break back below 70,000, everyone starts screaming for 55K.
All right, well, let's talk about the James Dean look. Nick, what's the famous James Dean quote?
I don't know.
Could have been a contender. No, I'm mixing up. That's oh, man.
Is it Shirley?
Someone, he's like,
he's screaming a woman's name.
Yeah, something like that. Let us know. You got a nice,
I'm gonna pull it up. James Dean quote.
James Dean quote. Yeah, instead of living fast, die young, leave a good-looking grave. It's like you trade fast, get liquidated young,
today.
And then
get liquidated young. Is that what you said?
Something like that.
Well, hey, it's not loading. So
Biker
what
Josh.
Is loading?
Yeah, it's Biker Josh.
Is Bitcoin back above $66,000? So what was happening this morning?
Well, there's a lot of longs, getting liquidated. Let's actually just look right into the charts to see, how bad are we dumping? But it looks like we have a little bit of a bounce, everybody. I actually put a long in Mina and a long in Pepe right before the stream. And we'll see how those are doing in a second. Bitcoin is down 4.4%. However, we are at 66,000. Let me just go ahead and refresh this because it's moving so quickly. Ethereum, it is above 3,200, but it is down 8%. 33.22. We keep scrolling down. At one point, Solana was the biggest loser in the top 10. Looks like behind Dogecoin, that is. But now ETH has passed it. Solana is down 5.5%. Keep scrolling down. Doge took quite the beating. It was down 10% at one point. Now it is only down 7.3. Cardano 4.3. Avalanche was the hot token, man. It was the new kid on the block. It was the new kid in school. Everyone was wanting to know his name. But now it's down 8.6%. Nick, is this feeling like a good opportunity to buy Avalanche? It's $50. What do you feel about buying a $50 Avalanche?
I would say $50 Avalanche is like you take that and you hold it for the next month or two, and it'll probably do another 2x, right? Like it will probably reach previous all-time highs with Avalanche, and then you take profits on all of that, and then you get out of the top 100.
Okay, out of the top 100. Well, if we do look at Avalanche, it does like to reject off 100. You can see here $96, $95, a couple daily closes, $97.60. Couldn't get that close above $100. So, just be careful with your exit strategy there. But Avalanche was over 120. If we go to market cap, we're still below all-time highs there. But what else do we have for, in the major coins here? Scrolling down, Shiba Inu is also down considerably. It is down 6.5%. But look at this pump on the 1 hour, 3.4%. Uniswap is down about 8%. Polygon is about to fall out of the top 20. Should fall. I mean, it's about to be passed by ICP. Look at that. Polygon and ICP battling for that number 20 spot. Josh, who do you have as a winner here?
Well, I think Polygon Matic has definitely been lagging behind itself. And yeah, as you can see, the computer needs an update. So we're going to be updating that.
Okay. Did you lose internet too?
Yeah.
I lost internet. It was working right before the stream.
So
and then
I don't know what happened there. But with Polygon Matic and, of course, ICP has been getting a lot of attention because it's up so much in the last month. Polygon Matic, though, still some of the best tokenomics on the market. The CEO is getting mad that people are, jumping in the meme coins versus utilizing their chain and made the utility remarks. But I do believe with Poll 2.0, there is going to be some comebacks with Polygon Matic's chain. So I expect it to outperform. I don't know if that's going to be a top 10 crypto at this point, but I do think Polygon Matic is still significantly undervalued. And it's one of those mid caps that, I have in my portfolio. I have a massive bag of Polygon.
Oh, wow. I actually look, you know who is right behind Polygon? ICP. Then you have a Litecoin. Litecoin trying to dethrone ICP, trying to dethrone Polygon. This is not on my bingo card, and the market caps are relatively close. 8.4, 8.2, 7.9. You can really round that up to 8.0. So 8.4, 8.2, and 8.0. Polygon, ICP, Litecoin. Nick, let's just go ahead and get some Litecoin maxis. Let's get their feathers ruffled here. Should Litecoin be above Polygon? Why or why not?
Litecoin above Polygon. No.
Yeah.
I mean, there's this like fantasy scenario where Litecoin gets registered as a commodity and people start trading it in an ETF. Like there's a Litecoin ETF. Because by the way, Grayscale still has a Litecoin trust. So in my mind, as long as Grayscale has a trust, it's a ETF target.
All right. Well, we're gonna have Josh make sure he's on the chat. We want to make sure we don't miss any super chats or anything like that. Yeah, Litecoin is up 5.3% today. If we go to the top gainers, you're actually going to see it in the top 3, I believe. At least it was. Yeah, still top 3 here. Tensor, Core is down, Core is up now 46. I might try to do a deep dive on some Tau ecosystem plays. I got some people, out the woodwork saying, hey, might want to check out some of these projects. But I'm also torn. I also want to look at Base. All the attention's at Base. So I'm kind of torn between Base and Tau. What video should I work on? But look at Core. Core's up 25%. We keep scrolling down. Mantle, Maker are also up slightly. And then after that, we're just bleeding red. But what's bleeding the hardest, or what does Josh would say? What is bleeding the hardest here? Conflux is down almost 12%.
Ouch.
Gate. Decentralized exchange token, it is down 11%.
That's definitely a centralized exchange. Gate is centralized.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't know why I said DEX there. Yeah, no, Gate definitely centralized. Pith Network, some call this the Chainlink of Solana. The Chainlink of Solana is down 11%. And Sui is down, Bonk is down, Pepe is down, but it is up 2.4%, so I should be pretty good on that long. WorldCoin, also one of the biggest losers. We, I guess, maybe are happy to see that. And I'm also in a little long from Mina Protocol, so I should be up at about 2.9% on that as well. Singularity bouncing, and it is bouncing hard. Josh, Singularity is bouncing 4% just in the last hour. Does that mean Singularity is going to bounce even harder? It looked like it does not want to be near $1. Bouncing off that dollar range. You can see kind of use it as support, not even getting closer to $1 now.
Yeah, I think Singularity is going to be jumping, and I think you'll see Fetch as well as Ocean bounce pretty well after this rally, and that's because of the anticipation around the ASI move. So they're all merging into that one token. If you guys didn't know, Ocean, AGIX, and Fetch are no longer going to exist because they're all actually turning into one cryptocurrency. So all 3 are merging into one, and that's going to be called ASI. So I expect some movement based off that news event, which could happen in the coming weeks. But as of right now, I can't see any charts bouncing. So it's up to you to show me what's happening from the main screen.
Yeah, I got you. All right, well, let's talk about the Bitcoin flash crash. Everybody, kind of getting their pants stuck around their ankles there, and Bitcoin dipped, and it dipped pretty hard. Everybody, it led to $165 million so far in leveraged crypto liquidations. It's probably going to jump up above 250. It plunged 5% from 69,450 to as low as 65,000 in less than 30 minutes, and that's the main takeaway right there. Very, very short amount of time. According to CoinGlass, the wick down saw more than 165 million wiped out, 50 million in Bitcoin longs, 40 million in ETH longs accounted for the bulk of that position. Also, people getting wrecked on Dogecoin, Solana, and they were also liquidated there as well. Around the same time, the ETFs posted a net outflow of $86 million. I was actually looking at the ETFs. Let me go ahead and pull up my account here. Boom, we're going to go here. I have to hit home since we're on a different window. I hit likes. We're going to scroll down. I actually pulled up the ETF data. This is it right here. It's a little bit hard to see because the screen's small, but we had a net inflow if you take out Grayscale. It's a little bit hard to see, but this says without Grayscale. This purple column, this is yesterday. This is April Fool's Day. So we actually had a net outflow, 1.2. You can see from 834,000 to 833,000. So it ended up being a net decrease. But once you take out Grayscale, we went to 501 to 504,000. So we actually gained slightly there. So Grayscale, counting as some of the selling, but once you take out Grayscale, things are getting pretty bullish in the ETF realm.
Hey, DZ, we have a super chat from Crypto Crank says, build me a $250,000 portfolio with no Bitcoin or ETH.
I hope you have some Chainlink. I hope you have some Cardano and Solana. I hope you have some top 10 exposure. I would recommend some top 10 exposure. One of the main reasons you want to have some exposure in the top 10, because when things crash, they will crash pretty hard. So, you don't want to get stuck in these coins that fall 10% when Bitcoin only falls 4.5%. You look at the very next coin, it fell more than Bitcoin. Solana fell more than Bitcoin. We keep scrolling. Doge fell more than Bitcoin, more than Bitcoin, more than Bitcoin. Chainlink, less than Bitcoin. And so that's why I say, make sure you kind of focus on some of these stronger projects. When there is a market crash, you don't want to, lose more than Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin dips 10%, your coin might dip 20, 30, 40%. And so that's why, you just don't want to be too risky. You do want to diversify. What coin would you... So I'm going to just say Chainlink. Chainlink's probably the one. You need to make sure you have some Chainlink in that $250,000 portfolio. What's your one coin you say they need to add?
The one coin I believe everybody needs to add would be Chainlink.
Chainlink. All right, we got Chainlink. We got Chainlink. Yeah. Nick, would you make it a trifecta?
It would be Chainlink.
If you don't have it, you need it. If you have a $250,000 portfolio, I would say at least 10% of your portfolio should be Chainlink. If it's $250K.
I like that number.
Are we all Chainlink Marines now?
Yeah, Chainlink Marines.
The CCIP,
I have 2.7.
I'm just so bullish on. I think it's going to be a massive.
Yeah, I have I'm working on getting my third Chainlink. I'm a whole coiner now, so it's a good thing right now. It feels good to be a whole coiner. I'm a whole coiner in Cardano, Chainlink. I think that's it. Everything else is just fractions. You know what, though? I said I'm going to buy something live. I'm still going to buy something live. I'm going to let you know why I'm going to buy it, why I think it's a pretty good price, and why I was shocked to discover my initial buy-in price. I was actually disgusted, and I almost don't even want to buy the token anymore. But I'm just going to talk you through my mentality and why I'm still going to continue and DCA into this project. But speaking of DCAing, looks like Bitcoin's 30-day volatility surpassing Ether's volatility on that 30-day range, which is pretty surprising because most people just kind of DCA into Bitcoin. So seeing its volatility passing Ethereum's is pretty just interesting here. So this is according to Kaiko, and the volatility surpassed its volatility rate amidst the anticipation of the halving. So we got the halving kind of making it just a little bit more of a volatility, kind of similar to risk, more of a risky play. We have a little bit more swings that we're expecting to see here. So the 30-day volatility reached 60%, exceeding Ether's 30-day volatility by at least an additional 10%. So Ether coming in around 50, Bitcoin coming in around 60%. As per Kaiko, the gap in volatility marks a multi-year high. So normally you don't see big gaps like that. And you can kind of see on the chart, normally ETH is more volatile. You can see the blue line is above the yellow line the majority of this time here. Right now, we're getting a pretty big disparity for ETH. So ETH is getting pretty volatile. But why did we crash? One of the reasons we crashed, I think, is the markets are psychologically driven. And a lot of times people look at past performance to say, well, what is going to happen in the future? Everybody's doing that with the halving. Well, the halving did this in 2020. The halving did this in 2016. So that means it's going to do this in 2024. And so people are doing the same thing with the first week in April. Oh, the first week in April, it does this. Most of the time, probably. Well, what is normally, what do we expect in the first week of April? They're calling it Bitcoin's Achilles heel. Nick, where do we get the name Achilles heel?
We get it from the Legend of Troy.
Legend of Troy, where they dipped
an arrow into...
Well, no, they dipped Achilles into the river, holding it by his Achilles.
Holding him by his heel, yeah.
And then he got, yeah. Then he gets sliced.
He was blessed by the gods, and he was impervious to pain and being injured, except for the heel.
So he's impervious to pain. So he's a leverage trader. who uses 50x.
No, I said he's impervious. I didn't say he loves pain.
Oh, yeah, there's a slight difference. Yeah, one's, both are dead inside, though. Do you agree base, if base does well, OP explodes? So we've covered this a lot. ARB is attracting the big whales. OP is attracting the devs. And I will say, as the OP tokens do better and better and better, tokens that are using OP's SDK, OP's development stack, I don't know if the markets are going to care about that, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
Crypto Crank, I want to say, oh yeah, in a perfect world, crypto communities love the strength of the code. They don't care about the strength of the code. They care about the strength of the community much more than the code. And they care about whale wallets much more than the code too. So in a perfect world, yeah, it would do great. I don't know if that narrative will pick up any steam though. All right, but back to April's first week here. Bitcoin closed March on a strong note. The strongest monthly close in history. The leading digital asset by market cap experienced huge growth in 2024. Year-to-date rally of 57%. We're feeling good. We're looking good. Our wallets are smelling good here. However, the data is showing Bitcoin is currently down 2.4% so far in the 14th week here. And so here we have, instead of months, we have weeks. And so they're using this as as a proxy for the beginning of April. And when we have, when we finish March with a strong week, all right, so green, 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 red, green, 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 red, green, red. Honestly, folks, this just looks like it's a coin toss. I don't know if we're going to be able to get any real information from this.
This looks like a bunch of hoodoo bullshit. But if you look at the actual Bitcoin chart, on the monthly chart, we put in like 7 monthly green candles. So it's like, people are like, "Whoa, how could this possibly happen?" We're like, well, because we put in 7 green candles.
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That one was a barely, but that was one of those ones that made me feel like a little bit of manipulation was in play. Like, oh, let's go ahead and get this thing above it. January, I'm talking about you, because they couldn't have the ETFs release and then January is a red candle. That just doesn't fit the narrative. And so, we end up turning January into a green month there. Looking at the 25-minute chart, looks like, all right, we found maybe a little bit of a bottom, maybe getting a little bit of a bounce here. We have the Lux Algo indicator. What's up with my y-axis right here? I'm going to have to figure out log average. All right, well, maybe getting a little bit of, maybe the money flow is going to start turning around on some of these smaller time frames.
This.
Say what?
I'll tell you who knows a lot about this.
Jason Casper. Oh, wait, no, Kelly. I was watching Jason ahead of time. Kelly does great too. We love Bit Daddy, Chart Daddy.
Oh, wait.
He feels scorned, man. He's giving me the cold shoulder.
Hurt his feelings now.
No, I was lost in all this data that we're trying to compile, and it's so easy when we look at these charts. Shout out to everybody here. Thank you for having me back. We got to talk about this, chopping around. What's going on, right? Well, let's talk about it. Everybody have a red day. Red days in these strong bull trends equal opportunity. And yesterday, about noon, I shared this, and it doesn't seem like anything, but I said, remember, it's all about shaping the narrative, not informing you all. Expect some chop. This is the list of Fed speakers we have this week. They're not here to tell you what's going on. They're here to figure out how they can shape the market. And what are we getting? We're getting that chop on the market. And it feels like on this 15-minute chart, like everything's over. But when we zoom out on the 4-hour, I just want to point out, I don't want to say I told you so, but I will say it went exactly to where I said it was going to go yesterday when we had this sort of topping formation. Why do I call it topping formation? This is a triple top. And these tend to break to the downside. And there's
Kelly,
a couple other things.
I have boomerized. So when you say to this level, give me some numbers here. So yesterday, you came on the stream in the morning. For those who weren't here, you said, you know what? It looks like it's going to this dollar amount. What was the range that you gave us? And what was the actual dollar it went to? I want receipts here, man.
Let's do it. So this was that inverted head and shoulders. It broke out. It went up to the 71.5 level, triple topped here. And in addition to all of this, I was saying, well, we have this range down here. This here is the $65,000 range. And in fact, I had a mark on this chart at 64,139. And the price action went as low. Let's see where the low is. And I'm just going to show you a trick, everybody. When you move your mouse over a candle and you look up here at the top, it says OHLC. This is open, high, low, close of each individual candle. And this low on this was 64,545. Now, this is important. And the reason why I was outlining this level, not only do we have a lot of support here, rejection here, support, rejection coming into this zone, between this order block region at 64,100 and this basically price target region that we had outlined here, the 65,282, wouldn't you notice if you look right? Oh, that's not what I'm looking for. Wouldn't you notice if you look at the BTC1 chart, BTC1 futures chart, we have that exact level also happen to be between 64,200 and 66,300, which is, we went right to the middle of this zone, right almost exactly to the target I had outlined on here, which is 65,190. This is the basically the gap here, the CME futures gap that has been here since last week, not this week, last week before. And so it's in a way, it's kind of nice to have price action come back into this zone. Now, when we come back over to the chart, I just want to point out a couple more things. When we're looking at, we have all this narrative shaping here, choppiness, the Dixie, the dollar index, the strength of the dollar is reacting positively to this. And when this moves up, this tends to put pressure onto risk assets and just, assets that you're trading in general, and especially Bitcoin. So what we want to see here is not only the price action perform well, but we want to see the dollar show a little bit of weakness here and come down. We may have a choppy week because of all these FOMC meetings, but at the end of the day, when we're coming back over to this chart, I just want to zoom out a little bit further and realize if we were looking at this on, let's say, on a 2-hour chart or something, we wouldn't be like, oh my God, it's crashing. We'd be like, oh, this is forming a bullish continuation pattern. So let's be a little bit patient while it chops in this range. If it goes lower, you know what? I'm not going to have a heart attack. Let's actually go back over to the regular chart. We still have this level below us as a huge buffer, the short-term holder cost basis, which is about 57.5, 57.8, and this is only rising as time goes on. We see this area tested regularly in every bull market. So coming all the way down here, I'm not worried on any sort of bearish level until we break below this. We're still sitting in an incredibly bullish range right here. Let's not get chopped out, because as we're looking at this, we can also see on this Bitcoin strategy platform value map. I talked about this about a month ago. The price action came into this overheated zone right here in these $70,000 levels. And I pointed out that in the previous cycles, each time we've come up to this level, we've rejected off at least once. We saw this when we came up to 14,000. This resulted in that pre-halving sell-off. We saw this right here at this level where we actually sold off across the halving last cycle. A lot of people have been looking at the market, and because we're so close, we're like, oh, I guess we're not getting a halving pullback. Well, we've seen in previous cycles that we've had the pullback across the halving. So this is still in play if that does come. But as it stands, everything is looking very bullish in terms of the macro. On the short term, I think these market players are doing everything they can to shake us out. And when we look at the liquidation levels, this is something I think Josh put on my radar, this windshield wiper method. At the basic levels of this, just notice where this dotted line is. It's on the low side. Windshield wiper goes up, back down, up, back down. And when you see this large bearish, basically negative delta, these tend to flip back positive, meaning this is showing that we're a little bit overheated on the selling pressure. At some point here,
Bitcoin,
this is,
or does it show the do you have the maximum liquidity on under appearance?
This actually,
So go to settings right there next to the yellow button. Left, click down, go to the appearance tab. Click on max liquidity. Nope, one more. All right, what's under appearance? Yep, they click on max liquidity. And let's see how much it is. It should be, I would imagine it's around negative 12 billion.
minus 17.
Ooh.
17. Wow.
Yeah, that is where you look for a reversal.
Yeah, so we've gotten to that point, and so this doesn't mean it has to go up from here directly on this exact moment. But what we're seeing in the price action is come down to a level that we were pointing out, the 64 to 66K range. And when we look at these very small time frames, this is showing signs of life for a potential attempt higher. But I'd be very skeptical on this, just basically going, 30x long and, not paying attention to this, because this very well could still wash out to the downside. The markets are bullish. Things are feeling good. Josh and I are doing a member stream for the BITLAB Academy members here. Just come into the Discord right here, hit that RSVP. And if you want to join us, Prices are still under that previous all-time high. So head over to lab.bitlabacademy.com/Josh. I'm putting a link in there if you want to pin it up. We are still offering that 30-day free trial for the premium Discord. We got a wonderful community there. Stay in front of this trend. Learn how to make sure you're picking the right coins and also taking the right trades. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Let's not get chopped out because the market's offering us some opportunity.
All right, I love it. And I see a little opportunity. I'm going to go ahead and buy a little Doge right now. Does it turn green or something? All right, boom, done. Just bought a little Dogecoin. I said I was going to buy some. The reason I'm going to buy it, it just looks pretty compelling on some short-term or on some of the longer-term time frames. I saw Sistine Research tweet about it. Let's pull up his tweet real quick.
That guy's the worst.
No, definitely not. Add us some Doge at 18 cents. We'll add one last time 15 cents if we get there. Just kind of some compelling charts, some very, very compelling support zones right there. And I said I was going to tell you how I'm disgusted. I looked at my first Doge buy. $10 got me 1,300 Doge.
Wow.
$10 and I got 1,300 Doge. At that point, I was like, because I saw my average cost was higher than I thought. I guess I've, just been because of my recent DCAs. I was like, I was just curious, what was my first purchase of Doge? If you can, if you have your phone on you, if you happen to know, you could just go by your purchases. Where did you first get in on Doge? I was well under a penny. Or decently under a penny, but I know there's some tweets you were wanting to look at.
Some just more charts, liquidation models, just for everybody.
Did you buy any Doge 2020, 2021 as it started to get popular?
So that's actually how I first got into crypto streaming and everything. I was on Twitch and I'd play games and I have Dogecoin on the right hand side of my stream at all times. And I bought it 0.005 or whatever it was. I sold though at 1 penny. I thought that was good. I was like, there's no way we keep going from here. So I sold way early on.
It reminds me of my
a 2-3x on it.
My Chainlink story. I sold, bought a whole bunch at $2 and I sold at a 2x.
Yeah, it's just, we all have those stories. And it's like, man, should have held. But you never know. You're like, dude, this dog coin's not going to keep going. Of course, it kept going.
Oh, wow. We got a CMG, 0008. Wow. That's really good.
Are you still holding those? The question.
We all took profits.
He's like, I sold at 0.001. But... All right. Guys, so speaking of these shorts, this is really important. So, you had Kelly here talking about how there was this massive delta spread to the downside, which is what we like to look for in terms of seeing some upside action in the near term. Right now, if you look to the left side of this dotted line, guys, this is the windshield. Okay, this is the windshield wiper. It likes to wipe out longs and it likes to wipe out shorts. All of your trades on the right-hand side are going to be shorts. These are going to be longs on the left-hand side. So there's very little amount of longs that are actually left on this market right now. This was from 2 hours ago. So these actually all got wiped out to the $65,000 level. And now there are billions of shorts that are ahead of us up towards
I'll say this. If I was a windshield wiper blade, I know which direction I'm going.
Exactly.
Look at all the water droplets. Get off my shield.
It is making so much sense that you just picked up Dogecoin and made a trade on this. If I were looking to actually open positions as a leverage trader, I've done a lot of these challenges where we take $100 to $10,000 in the Discord. Everybody in Discord knows that it happens. This is where we'd be looking for those entries.
Speaking of leverage, I am in a Pepe long. Let's go ahead and show it. It looks like I maybe caught the bottom, everybody. I saw, a little bit of bullish divergence right here. So, I saw the RSI the price was a little lower, but the RSI was a little higher. I jumped in and we're up a steak dinner. This is I'm not crazy leverage on Pepe. Pepe is like, you got to go a little bit more calm when you're trading things besides Bitcoin and ETH.
Well, it's awesome that you brought up the RSI because Bitcoin Archive pointed out today Bitcoin's RSI right here is back under 50 and has reset to levels last seen when Bitcoin was at $41,000. So we are out now at a point where the RSI is retesting right around the ETF inflows for January 10th. When we had that ETF actually come out, we started getting a massive upside in inflows. It caused Bitcoin's price to go from $40,000 or $37,000 easy to $65,000, $73,000 at its peak. So, we're back to these levels that we haven't seen since 41,000. And that's where I want people to realize if we were at 55K, your RSI would be so oversold. Again, these are looking like decent entry points to start at least dollar cost averaging back into the market, especially when you have Caleb Franson here talking about the major resistance level that we're at. This happens every single cycle. Imagine selling any amount of Bitcoin in the classic breakout, retest, rebound scenario setup that the price consolidates back to all-time highs, resistance, which of course we saw in 2021. So we're battling that resistance level from 2021. And in 2021 or in 2020, we battled that resistance level from 2017, 2018. And what that looks like, okay? What that looks like, I have one more tab here. I guess I deleted it. It didn't pop up just yet. Is a 1, 2, 3, 4 pattern that I'll find and show you guys on another Twitter thread. But what that usually means, guys, is you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so a lot of traders out there on these markets right now are looking at this bullish pennant that is forming. Again, let me draw it out for you guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 5. They're anticipating a break to the upside in the bullish pennant pattern that is forming. So if this bullish pattern does play out, we're watching the 4 hours. We want to watch these key levels. We just filled the CME futures gap. Shorts are definitely kind of creating this slingshot effect where we're pulled back. The rubber band is almost far back as it can go. If that upside action is seen before the halving, there is a price target now of $80,000.
Yeah, I like that. And just for a little perspective, we have dumped a few times in 2024. If you look here, this was January 11th, the day of the ETFs, where Bitcoin then went on a downward pressure there. These are 4-hour candles, and it took 30 days for us to then surpass that area. And then you saw, a very, very quick bounce past the previous all-time high. Here, though, we haven't passed where we were earlier. And now at this point, we're looking at 19 days. So, we still got some time, everybody. But, I do want to talk about Bitcoin. There's a pretty interesting argument on Squawk Box yesterday. Nick, did you happen to see that, Pomp?
No, I missed it.
Yeah, Andrew Ross Sorkin. They got into an argument over why people buy Bitcoin. And Chad, I want to ask you, why do you buy Bitcoin? What is the number one reason you're buying Bitcoin? Besides number go up, I want to buy and sell higher. But what is the number one reason? Well, Bitcoin inflation hedge argument is a fairy tale used by speculators, according to Andrew Sorkin. This was on Squawk Box yesterday with Pomp founder Anthony Pompliano, and they're debating the theoretical role as a risk-off asset is a real thing or just a mere narrative driven by speculators. And we actually have the video. I'm going to play, not sure, maybe 20, 30, 40 seconds here.
Okay.
Let's see. I don't know. No, 6 minutes. 6 minutes where we want to start.
A lot of folks. But I guess what I'm saying is it may serve different purposes, different people. But if you told me that 90% of the people were in my mind, this is my own thesis. I think 80 to 90% of the folks who are buying this thing are buying it because it's a risk on, the train is leaving, or I think the train's leaving, and I want to get in on the action. And that there's another 10 or maybe 20%, maybe, who have this sort of inflation hedge idea that around their own.
So I was going to pause there. I don't feel that the number is accurate. Only 10, 20% see Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation. I want to ask you in the chat right now, do you see Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation, or is it only 1 out of 10 of you? Because I have a feeling it's closer to 9 out of 10.
So it's a yes or no on, is it a hedge against inflation, right? That's the argument that they're fighting on CNBC Live.
Yes.
I do want to hear Anthony Pompliano's response, because to me, obviously, I think it could be both. People in a first world country like the United States, they might be speculating based off, yes, price number is going to go up. They've been following it against tech stocks, etc. They're not really worried about it as a hedge against inflation, because whether you want to make that argument or not, which you definitely can, especially as the United States just printed $9 trillion in 2020. Second and third world countries look at Bitcoin as more than a hedge against inflation. In fact, it beats their currencies by 100-fold. So you can play this from both fields, but I definitely want to see Anthony Pompliano's kind of response.
Let me go ahead and set the table here. Michael King, are they related? I feel like that episode of The Office where they can't tell the difference between the pictures. A little bit of similarities here. A little bit of similarities. I feel if me and you switch, you take your glasses off. I mean, then you're almost
right in.
Yeah, kind of. All right. Well, let's. What is Anthony's response here?
Exposure to their own currency.
Look,
but I don't think it's a 50-50 thing. I don't think it's a. You see what I'm saying?
Well, what you're calling out is just a societal trend, right? We have become a society of gamblers. If you think about it, we have zero-day options. Now we're more than 50% of options trading. We have sports betting, right? We have meme coins trading like 1980s boiler room, penny stocks. This is all happening. And so, again, why is that occurring? The dollar has lost 25% of its purchasing power in 4 years. We have $1.1 trillion of credit card debt. We have 43 million Americans that have federal student debt. The average balance is $37,000. People have lost hope. They do not have hope. How are you supposed to live in a country where it is cheaper to rent than buy a home in 50 major metros?
I love how he brought up the value of a dollar has lost 25% over the past 4 years. Because if you look at Bitcoin, and we just say, let's just look at the last 3 years here, hit max, move this thing, slide it on over to around the top right there. You might actually be down if you got Bitcoin at 69K. Say you bought the wick, you bought Bitcoin at 69K. It's only 65K now. Your Bitcoin has more purchasing power today than it did at 69K. If you just had $69,000, how many candy bars can you buy? How much property would that buy? How many gallons of milk would that buy? Whereas you compare to Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin is down, you're still up at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It depends on what you're buying, though. If you are buying TVs, then you're getting more TVs. But if you're trying to buy
there
beef,
are a handful of things.
You're trying to buy
Are TVs
beef,
still going down in price?
Yes, they are.
God, still? When does it stop?
I know. And
when we have vending machines, you're paying for a TV for $10. I
know. And my dad just gave me a 12-year-old plasma TV that looks better than any OLED I've seen.
P Thunder, take a look at Benkey, small market cap, good TVL, part of the AVAX ecosystem. Could be a sleeper pick. Keep up the great work, y'all. We've actually working on a script right now.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm a punt. I might shoot a Benkey video today. P Thunder. It's almost like you're planning this. Are you on the Benkey team? No, we mentioned Key early on. I'll say it was around 4. Anybody who jumped in with that video, we got up 3-4x. So congrats on that. All right, now, that
I'll
was
pull
pretty
it up
much
in just a second. I think it was a perfect segue though into today's stream sponsor, which is of course Baze.bets with the degeneracy guys. If you guys are gonna be doing that, make sure you guys go check out Baze here. They're having a bit of a pullback here, as you can see on the price, but it is a project that is 100% fair launched against your other platforms out there that exist. You guys, of course, saw the massive announcement coming out with the Phase Enroll Bits. It is a narrative that I think is going to start formulating itself. This has everything from all of your favorite live betting platforms to your favorite degeneracy and meme coins, guys. Make sure you guys check them out. Links in the bio here.
Remember VCRs when they got down to $20 to $5? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Sorkin also said he went to Africa and didn't find any hodlers. I mean, he wasn't in the degen area of let's see, Nigeria's tech capital. I'm sure there's basements full of degens trading altcoins there. Let's see here. This conversation making me feel like I do not have enough Bitcoin. I'm taking it to say there. Are you moving it for our benefit or for the camera's benefit? Okay, I like it. All right, now
I couldn't see it, so thank you. I can finally read it. Sorkin also said he went to Africa and didn't find any holders. I'm confused on what he means by that.
He was just talking about, Bitcoin adoption isn't as high as you guys say it is. I went to this place and there were wasn't hodlers. Okay, dude, sure, all right.
That's
you know what?
Elitist, bro.
I went to Alex Becker's stream and I didn't find any Cardano fans.
He went to the Ritz-Carlton in South Africa, and there was no Bitcoin holders there because they were all oil money.
Yeah, I went to Epstein's Island. I didn't see any non-creeps. All right, Aerodrome. Yeah, we love
They were holding. They were transacting for mine.
All right, let's see. All right, well, let's talk about speaking of government here. We do have key events this week. ISM manufacturing. We have PMI data. We have JOLTS job opening data. We have OPEC tomorrow. We have Fed. We have Powell speaking tomorrow. We got February jobs report on Friday. 14 Fed speaker events this week. So volatility might stay high, everybody. And this kind of brings us to another fan of the channel. I just want to give a big shout out to Kula DAO. They're planning for its public token sale. I just want to give a highlight that they're the first to get pre-approval from VARA, the Virtual Assets Regulatory Authority in Dubai, the only regulated DAO that tokenizes natural resources and commodities in the world. And if there is rampant inflation, I expect natural resources and commodities to outperform, along with crypto. And this is kind of like a combination of both. All right, let's see here. Poly picks the VP. Talking about Polygon, talking about Matic. Matic is saying we automatically know who is going to be Trump's running mate here. Poly Market here. Who will Trump pick for Veep? Poly Market gives Tim Scott the best odds. Yeah, man. Free money. Democrat wins New York contract trades at 90 cents on the dollar. So, hey, Nick, put your money where your mouth is, and why don't you vote on who the VP might be?
It's not going to be Tim Scott, though.
It's not going to be Tim Scott.
If he did Tulsi Gabbard, it would be a huge attention event. I think a lot of positive attention, probably largely. Let's see. Mark Rubio coming in at 4%. Vivek is at 3%.
No, Vivek is going to be the press secretary, full stop. Although it could be Candace Owens too. He may pick Candace Owens.
That would be funny. Let's see. RFK, let's see, 2% there. That'd be a little far-fetched. All right. Well, I mean, you can go and you can bet on who's it going to be. So looks like Tim Scott leading the way there. All right. Scrolling on here. Speaking of other governments, Argentina. You have the chat down, by the way.
Yeah,
on purpose.
Yeah, it
died again?
Yes, sir.
Do we got to do CPR on the laptop?
Restart your device to change startup settings.
You know what? Speaking of startups, I don't know if there's a startup segue here, but Argentina announcing mandatory registry for Bitcoin and crypto trading. Critics believe the government is turning against Bitcoin despite Milei's promise to uphold libertarian values. So it looks like maybe a little bit more regulation is going to be coming into the country. Those who are not registered will not be able to operate in the country, said CNV president here. That's the National Securities Commission. And so talking about the registration, identify the human and legal persons that provide services related to crypto assets in the country. And so I would say this is more for companies, not individuals just trying to self-custody. You know, I'd have to like read the law myself with a Google Translate. But I wouldn't say this is super anti-Bitcoin or saying he's going the exact opposite of pro-Bitcoin libertarian viewpoints. Yeah, I think if anything, he probably doesn't want his country to get grifted by FTXs, by many Sam Bankman-Frieds. What's Sam Bankman-Fried in Espanol? Samuel?
Besame culo.
Yeah, something about culo where he's at now.
I was kiss my butt.
Milei's disregard for self-custody seen in his latest policies is disappointing. Bukele's embrace in El Salvador sets global standards. Now they're starting, Milei is not as pro-Bitcoin as Bukele, but he's definitely more pro-Bitcoin than probably any viewers at home. So, you know, he's more pro-Bitcoin than most, for sure. Now, this was pretty scary. Nick, have you seen this yet?
I heard about it. I did not get into the details.
I didn't get into the details yet either. Netflix paid $100 million to access your private messages on Facebook, everybody. And then after that, we're going to look at some altcoins as well, because folks, there's some crazy altcoin stuff happening. But I do want to share this just because it's kind of important when it comes to our privacy. Facebook sells all its users' private messages to Netflix for $100 million. They exchanged the private user information. They gave access to the private messages in exchange for watch history. Moreover, the video streaming platform paid over $100 million to Facebook. So pretty not great, Facebook and Netflix right there. I would say I'm not a fan of this. I don't think anyone's a fan of this. It's no great mystery how close this partnership developed and who was steward there. Why? Netflix's then CEO, Reed, I think his first name was Hastings, sat on Facebook's board and personally directed the company's relationship. So we got someone that's, you know, heavily involved in one company, also heavily involved in the other company. And then he's like, yeah, let's just commingle all the customer data. I would say that's not a good thing at the end of the day.
Yeah, let's get +1s in the chat for stealing customer data. That is what I'm bullish on. Yeah,
I love
bullish.
Not great.
This article, though, is intense. This Apple integration one, because we've been talking about this for a very long time with a lot of these AI protocols, and this is a quick victory lap for what we saw that was coming. And it is Apple integrating AI and language assistance into Siri.
Maybe a victory lap, because they got nothing but L's. L's with Siri. Siri sucks. I think everyone knows it sucks. Sorry if I triggered your device. SIRI sucks.
Let me ask you this then. What language AI model do you use for your personal assistant right now?
If I'm trying to find something that's kind of expressed in human terms, I will use Grok. And if I want something that's up-to-date data, I will use Gemini.
Do you use Alexa? Do you use any language assistants at all?
No, verbal. If anything, I'm like asking a question. It's like, you know, give me a good recipe when I'm out of, you know, butter.
If you were to use one, would you just use Siri, or would you download a completely another app and pay a subscription to use one?
If I were to use one, like I have a gun in my head and it's like, you must use a voice assistant. I would have to use Siri because I don't really have an option, but I would just type and use my fingers because I'm old school.
Yeah, so I think that's my point from this. A lot of the AI models that are coming out for these language assistants, I just see Apple integrating it, and it's just going to kind of make those irrelevant.
Well, yeah, but to me, Apple integrating a competitor's AI is something Steve Jobs would never have done. It's almost them giving up, and I don't see Steve Jobs saying, Yeah, let's just give up AI to a competitor. No, Steve Jobs would make it his mission to have the best AI. He would probably be working on a humanoid robot.
Didn't Steve Jobs steal like the claim of the dev who created Apple in the beginning? Not Steve Wozniak. No, it was, I have to watch the movie again. It's been so long since I watched it.
Are you talking about where he like stole the mouse from?
Yeah, like you know, whatever it is. That's what I'm saying. Though I agree with you. It's like you think he's gonna give it up to a competitor. No, I don't think.
Yeah, so it's their Realm AI model, and they're saying it's this is very, very innovative in recognition and understanding of data. It's worth noting though, the simple model demonstrates the same performance as GPT-4, accompanied by fewer parameters. Here's what I would say, because as soon as I saw this story, I just said, oh, but it's not open to the public, so we're just relying on their curated example. Like, hey, here it is in a closed box, and I'm gonna open the box, and you look in the box, and you're like, oh my God, it's like the briefcase in a Quentin Tarantino movie. You know, it's like, whoa, it's glowing and it's so magical, but it's not open for the public. It's like Gemini. Gemini was this huge thing, it's so awesome, and then when Gemini went to the public said, oh, this is a stinking pile of horse manure. Maybe this is going to be the same situation. So I think we need to put this in the public's hands before we give any kind of real assessment. What are you going to say, Nick?
Never mind. I was just about to troll our entire audience, but
SIRI is absolutely terrible. So far behind, I would agree. Ended my tactic. Good for you. Good for you. Kind of like Elon Musk with Tesla. I guess they're referring to fully self-driving. Yeah, he says it's a year away, and he's been saying that for a decade. But he has the best one out, though, right?
He has the best one out. But, you know, speaking of his AI ambitions, he's acknowledging that there's a 20% risk of ending humanity.
No one knows that. No one knows that. Yeah, it's impossible to measure.
Suspiciously round number.
It's just it's fantasy, and it's no one can know for sure. And it's like, what are the odds that robot's going to pick up a kitchen knife and say, oh, you're polluting my planet? You know, who knows? Who knows? No one knows anything like that. But people do want to see some altcoin charts. You got any altcoins you wanted to share?
Yeah, let's pick some up from chat. Of course, you guys have been putting about a bunch of altcoins in the chat, guys. Make sure you smash that like button first and foremost. We like to be at that 350 like mark. But guys, what altcoins you guys want to pull up? I want to definitely review and dive into some of these, because as markets pull back, this is what I'm always looking to buy. I'm always looking to accumulate when we see a massive pullback, and this is that pullback. We just saw, you know, Bitcoin plummet by almost $10,000 overnight. Your altcoins are going to bleed a little bit. So I'm curious to know. One, we have to cover Core though really quick. Core jumped massively over the last 7 days. It is now not just a top 100 token. It actually reached, I think, it's number 46.
Holy
so
smokes.
If you guys are looking to hop into Core, this isn't a product I would be touching right now whenever a chart looks like this. Now, of course, if it's a micro cap and you're looking at something that's like 5, 10, 15 million, a chart that looks like this may not necessarily matter because it's so small, it's volatile. Core is not small. Okay, it is worth $3 billion. So this up-only chart is $3 billion in market cap. That we are seeing it just go on an absolute rager. I haven't seen something like this at all. I don't think this is the first time I've seen it at this market. We've seen something go like from 0 to $3 billion in the span of 30 days. I guess no, you have dog with hat, right?
Yeah, true. And Bonk actually kind of hit the scene now. So this is during a bear market a year ago,
which is crazy.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like buying the wicks, but those very, very compelling narrative, and it's kind of reminded me of Toncoin. You know, just something that skyrocketed. Like you see it at 100, and then it's 80, then it's 50, then it's like a top 40, 30 coin, and you're like, oh, well, that kind of happened out of nowhere. Someone got 50,000 Doge for $100 in 2018. Good job with that.
I do want to say something though off this, because I do think it might spark a bigger narrative that's coming. For you guys that don't know, Core is decentralized application secured by none other than Bitcoin. So it's built EVM compatible smart contracts on a Bitcoin powered blockchain. I think this is a huge trend that we're pushing towards. They have something called their Satoshi Plus consensus. Of course, this is more or less, I would say, a side chain. I'm not the developer that get into the technicals, but we are seeing this transition towards everything wants to be secured and built on or by Bitcoin itself. So I think as we approach that halving, a lot of these narratives, guys, there's a lot of decentralized exchanges that I like on that platform, like Ords, or you have BVM. I think B-O-B, they don't have a token yet, but they just raised $10 million from like Bitcoin OGs, which I'm not even invested to. There's no partnerships or anything involved with that, guys. But that narrative itself, I think, is really starting to
Speaking
cook.
of narratives, you're a millionaire. You got $10 million in Bitcoin. You just bought this year. You bought the top. You don't know. You heard BlackRock. You're like, oh, that's a pretty good thing. And then you keep hearing this word DeFi, DeFi, DeFi. Like the 10th time you hear it, you're like, okay, I've had enough. What the heck is DeFi? Tell me about DeFi. I have some Bitcoin. And then they go into this long, complicated thing. And it's like, well, you have it on Ethereum and you have it on this chain. And you also have it on Bitcoin. They're going to say, all right, stop. DeFi's on Bitcoin too? I don't know if that old school Bitcoin whale, he sold his 7th property to buy some BlackRock IBIT ETF shares. Is that person going to do a deep dive on L2 wallets and, join some liquidity pools and, put real funds there? I don't know if that's going to be the case. You will have the whales on Maker. There's going to be tech bros in their 20s and 30s. But big old school money, I think they are going to have a narrative like, oh, DeFi, put my money to work for me. Put my Bitcoin to work for me. I just see them salivating at that prospect. And I do think Bitcoin DeFi will outperform.
Yeah, and I think you see it. Of course, you have Michael Saylor, right, saying he's a Bitcoin development company now.
Yeah.
So now the guy with now $12 billion in Bitcoin saying, oh, I'm building on Bitcoin. They're definitely going to pay attention to those.
If you watch ATB last night, we talked about Michael Saylor. We had a pretty much a Bitcoin episode. And Maddie, Piano Maddie B, he said he thinks Michael Saylor is a Fed in disguise.
Dang.
That's his theory.
Ooh, wait.
Yeah.
Michael Saylor.
Yeah, that's his. He's Canadian, though, so he's an outsider perspective.
He's Satoshi. Oh, that's a genius. They have an out, though. That's their alibi. Oh, no. I'm a Canadian.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm drunk off maple syrup. I didn't know.
Sorry.
But people got drunk off FOMO, I think, off this tweet. This tweet just went nuts yesterday. I want to give a big shout out to Altcoin Daily. Altcoin Daily ended up sharing this chart in their video. Just tweeting out Cardano altcoin compared to Bitcoin. And so this is when Cardano is worth the most versus Bitcoin, versus Bitcoin. And this is when it's worth the least versus Bitcoin. This right here is January 2018. That's when it hit $1. This right there, that's when Cardano hit $3. And I just said a very simple statement. Is now a good time to sell your Bitcoin for Cardano? And so, yeah, just big shout out to Altcoin Daily. There's
analysis.
There's a little clip right there.
Cardano.
We do have Sandman asking, does JJ or Josh Jake, but this is actually be a question for you too, because you've made the video on this and we've relentlessly made videos on Chainlink, but have any idea when Chainlink is introducing general access to CCIP? So for the viewers that are just now listening in, we're incredibly bullish on Chainlink. I think Chainlink's ecosystem is also going to be a narrative because the CCIP is perhaps one of the most powerful things and innovative tools we've seen in crypto. So what is it on a basic scale? And do you expect that going general access?
Well, CCIP is quote unquote open for whales, right? It's open for the people with big bags. It was closed, largely, I say about 6 months ago. But when it's going to be open for the general public, I don't think they have a release date. They're not going to do a release date till really, really close. If I had to guess,
6 months.
This year. I would say this year. I would say it's this year. Another altcoin gem. This was one we've talked about on the show in the past. IAG just got a big listing. It got listed on BitGet 4 hours ago. So this is breaking. Now, everything is crashing down. But if we go to Tap Tools, we might be able to see how is it doing compared to Cardano. IAG. Okay, it is up. It is up against Cardano for the week, for the 30-day, for the 7-day, and for the 24-hour. And so congrats on that one. Kopi is also up on the 24 hours, one of the coins that I was sharing. And I also had Charlie, and I just want to see how Charlie is doing. That was the low cap gem that I shared in last night's video. Come on, view all. Come on, Tap Tools. Come on, Internet. Work with me here. 3, 2, 1. All right, we can't just look at the screen.
Well, we do have
I give up.
Roosevelt asking Nick, why exit top 100 in 2 months? Thanks.
Because you want profits, right? Like you want gain. The top 200 is not going to move nearly as much as, the top 100 is not going to move nearly as much as the 100 to 200.
Yeah. And you got to make money in crypto. You got to take those profits. We have LL Radio saying Cardano is Bitcoin 2.0. I am not too sure about that one, but Candle Daddy here.
It's an argument to be made. It has the decentralized and governance narrative that Bitcoin used to have.
Maybe
it's decentralized. You're saying there's not an argument for Cardano to be decentralized compared to Bitcoin?
You're
wrong.
Bitcoin 2.0 though.
Oh, well, that's not what I said.
Well, there's what radio
arguments
said.
where you could say there's similarities. Is it the same thing? No, but there's arguments to be said. Well, that aspect is very similar, and this aspect.
So
is
are
very
you trying
similar.
to argue that Cardano is Bitcoin 2.0?
I didn't say that.
But you're saying you could.
I said that argument can be made.
Man, my brain is fried. 50 in core, though. The stake last week printed $300. Shout out to the massive gains there. Josh, will you sell your order swap this year or next year? Guys, look, if I make profits, I'm up in profits. I'm taking profits. And to be honest, people are, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, DZ. A lot of viewers listening right now, they're like, when's the top of this cycle going to happen? For me, that answer is it's impossible to predict that future. And as long as I'm on this up and right path here, we're making all these gains. I mean, how many projects have we called in the last few months that are up dramatically?
Here's my selling strategy. I only sell when there's a new coin I have zero exposure, I want more exposure to, and I don't have capital to deploy. I'll take profit on whatever is just pumped the most recently.
Yeah, for me, and this is going to sound, I don't mean this to sound terrible to people that are just watching in, but it's like 2 to 3Xs have been really easy these last 3 months. Almost any project we've been in is up 2 to 3X. And for me, I'm taking out those initials, if not taking profits and just letting the rest ride. So I'm at a different position. Same thing with ORDS. We're up already like 3X on it or 2X. You know, we're in it for the ride here. I'm too deep into Solana's ecosystem. What do you have to say to people that are over allocated to one ecosystem? Should they be only in one? Should they be diversifying? Or should you be in Solana and
It can be a superpower. So there's no real answer. If you just kind of briefly look at crypto, you need to diversify. But if you're one of those autistic nerds, if I just say it, if you're an autistic nerd and you're like, I just want to know everything about Solana meme coins. I'm checking dex screeners. I'm checking code. I'm doing all the things. I'm in all the discords. By all means, just stay in your little Solana ecosystem. You're probably going to crush it. Same thing goes for Cardano. Same thing goes for Bitcoin L2s. Same thing even goes for L2s, some degen L3 stuff. But eventually the music will probably stop playing for your narrative. And so if you're one of those Solana nerds who just, man, I only been trading Solana the past 15 months. Good job. But you would have been better off getting out at 200, and then as Solana crashed, as Solana fell 20, 30%, maybe you could have just been on the sidelines. Maybe you could have been in a different ecosystem. So if you have 5 tools in your toolkit, and they're all pretty good, versus I have one tool, and it's the sharpest tool ever, sometimes that's going to be a better strategy, but more often than not, on a long-term basis, you want the 5 tools, and so you want to be a little bit diversified with your information, and you want to be a little bit diversified with your bag. But autism is a superpower. Literally, Nick, is autism a superpower?
Usually, yeah.
Usually, 2024, it certainly is. And so you can use your, man, I get into an ecosystem, I get an obsession. So yeah, use that well. I found C3. It finally loaded Tap Tools. C3 was the deep dive. So we are also outperforming Cardano as well. That thing is up 23% against ADA, 13% in the 7-day. So good job. Hold up, let me scroll. C3. That's it wasn't a $3 million market cap. It was like closer to 20 or something, but still very, very low. Chase in the chat asking how to become a member. Do you mean on YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just the button, right? You just hit the button. It says members or community, right?
No, you got join there. It says join.
Join, yeah. It's yeah. Just
join.
Go ahead and join, everybody.
You won't do it.
All right, moving on here. All right, so any other altcoins? Did you see anything?
We have XRP Max. He's in the chat here. He's just joking, crying out here. For altcoins, guys, though, let us know what altcoins you guys want to pull up. We're just looking them on the charts here.
People on TikTok are asking for AIOZ.
AIOZ, amazing question here. AIOZ network is, I actually have a really cool interview that's coming out. I just got the opportunity to interview a mining channel that talked about DPIN and kind of what retailers should be focusing on, which is actually utilizing the infrastructure. So there's one way to speculate off a token like AIOZ. There's also another way to profit off DPIN, which is actually buying the mining equipment. And he goes on a very easy retail explanation of like weather apps and how to data aggregate and earn money off that. But AIOZ, they played their cards right. If you click the max chart here, you'll notice that in the bear market, they got wrecked. I remember when they first launched in 2021. What's that?
Just scroll up a little bit.
Oh yeah. I'll scroll up just a little bit. So I remember in 2021, right, when it actually launched, I almost had the opportunity to participate in this pre-sale. I didn't hop into it, which, if I was in the bear market, I would have been like, thanking Jesus. I was like, man, I'm so glad I didn't hop into that. But what did they do right here that made the chart just start going parabolic? Well, what they did was, if you click on their website, this was ingenious by their marketing team. They completely rebranded to the project essentially for DPIN for Web3, AI, storage, and streaming. Now, you always say 3 different words. What is DPIN? It's communications.
Compute, storage, communications. Compute,
Boom.
storage, communications. That's a DZOG original there.
Compute, storage. Well, I don't know if that you'd follow that on the communications.
Well, streaming is communicating.
It's communication.
It is communication.
So you have your 3 words right there perfectly: compute, storage, communication, empowering a fast, secure, and decentralized future. So they played their cards right. For me though, in terms of decentralized streaming, I would more be betting on their AI and storage segment of this. Just for like Theta, for example. And this might be biased, and I feel like DZ shares a lot of the same thoughts on this. Because I come from Twitch, and I tried being the pro streamer, I tried being the professional gamer, everything. Gamers and streamers are going to go where the views are. And on these decentralized streaming platforms, I have yet to see one that can actually obtain and sustain an audience. And you saw it with even centralized companies like Mixer from Facebook or Microsoft, which was their competitor to Twitch. They failed, and they spent like millions of dollars to buy Ninja, who was the largest streamer at that time, to bring viewers over, and nobody followed. So the only competitor that I have seen that started to actually take off is Kick. But the reason why Kick is outbeating, like Twitch and actually sustaining itself is because of its gambling partnership. So I would want to see, how we see decentralized streaming pop off? Is they combine their expertise with decentralized gambling, Gamblify, right? Because that is the narrative. That's how Kick got started. That's where they got their funding. That's where they got their streamers. And if we saw that integrate itself with some decentralized casino or something that exists out there, which I am bullish on extremely. Again, we're talking about Baze here. They're sponsored, the show here today. But like, that might be a way out. But that's the only way I've seen any competitor sustain themselves against Twitch.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
We're hoping Ninja pulls through his cancer diagnosis, by the way. Speaking of Ninja, and we got 1,500 people on X. Make sure you go ahead and repost this if we're giving you some alpha. Someone in the chat, let us know. We're type in your comments. We're trying to reply here. Litecoin is bouncing off resistance in the Bitcoin trading pair. And if you look, it is bouncing off very well. This is a trend line I drew weeks ago, months ago. I can't recall. I just remember, keep an eye out on this because this is the weekly chart. So a few weekly candles ago, we were messing with this level. But I saw something interesting because as soon as I saw this, I said, wait a minute, this reminds me of the Cardano Bitcoin trading pair, but for the wrong reason. This is trending a general direction. Litecoin versus Bitcoin. This one's trending a general direction as well. What do you want to jump in on? I know which one I want to jump in on. Nick, what are your thoughts on the general direction of Cardano versus Bitcoin and Litecoin versus Bitcoin?
I mean, it's bullish. Bullish.
I would say it's pretty bullish, right?
Yeah, I mean, Cardano is a 10x. I think Litecoin is a 5x tops.
Ooh, so. Litecoin is all right. Yeah, Will Cardano 10x, and I could clean this up.
That's
zoom
of
in
course
a little.
If there's no Litecoin ETF, which it is not. There is a non-zero chance there could be one.
All right. So, we're going to be watching this trend line very closely. And if you remember, I was one of the first ones to pull up that ETH Bitcoin trading pair and that trend line all the way back from 2015. In fact, I was the first person I saw do it. So, some of these old trend lines should be respected. That's all I'm going to say. So, respect the trend. The trend is your friend. This one goes back to November 2017. So, not as bad as or not as crazy as the 2015 trend line. And the Litecoin trend line started March 2017. So we got some long-term trend lines that we're looking at here. What's the most profitable coin to mine in 2024? That one's for you, Nick. What are you considering, because you're mining several coins. Which one are you banking on? This is the one where I put in $1 of electricity, December 31st. I'm just going to be like, whoa.
Oh, well, that's a lithium.
Lithium.
Yeah.
Okay, spelled with a PH, right?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and put the ticker in there.
It's lithium is kind of how it's spelled, right?
ALPH is the ticker. ALPH.
Yeah. Nope. Aleph is kind of how you spell it there. Yep.
That's it. I mean, if you look at the yearly, it's up like I don't know, a lot.
Oh crap! I hit live chart. All right. So yeah.
Geez.
Oh yeah. No, this thing is. I mean, it's moved this year for sure.
A lot. Yeah.
When did you start mining it?
I've been mining it since around July of last year.
I didn't even realize Sidus was
Congrats, Nick. Yeah, congrats. It's almost, wait a minute. Where do you drop this type of alpha 5 days a week or several days a week?
Pretty much Blockchain Basement and here sometimes when you let me talk.
All right, techno goodies in it as well.
Hey, yo.
We do have Sandman asking a good question. We've talked about this a couple weeks ago. I'll bring it up again. Next ETF. So he threw out ETH, Link, Solana, and there's a coin you are not mentioning, and it's the coin that I live bought. What is one of the most
Dogecoin.
decentralized coins?
Dogecoin.
It is Dogecoin. Do not be surprised if Dogecoin is added just because it's fully decentralized at this point.
It's a commodity. It meets the
It's
test.
a commodity. The founder's out. Nick, the founder, he sold all his tokens. You guys think you're crazy. Oh, man, I sold at a penny. He sold when there's many zeros after that decimal point. So he missed out on all the pumps. And actually, I don't want to say it was fun. It was sad and upsetting listening to him gripe and complain in 2021 as it started to skyrocket. Do you remember, he was just he was fudding his project the whole time. Why? Because he sold his whole bag. Let's see. Stream kickback to Alden. We see you in here. What's going on?
We did have someone in chat ask about Citus multiple times. I wanted to pull it up, or Citus, because Web3 gaming, I think, is going to be huge. But I guess it's starting to get a little bit of a comeback here. So I don't know if they made a difference or a change in their tokenomics. Citus launched, of course, in 2022. Is one of the most hyped up AAA gaming experiences that were supposed to come out. Completely underperformed. But if you click on market cap here, you'll notice that, that's completely shifted. So it looks like...
Are you trying to say Sidious?
Sidious?
I know. It's not. No. Share my screen. Not to be confused with Darth Sidious.
Not to be confused at all. No, this is like a Web3 gaming metaverse.
I thought that was Baphomet for a second.
Yeah, I talked about it a lot last cycle because I was excited for the launch of it. But just like most launches, I haven't even ended up playing this game. I got to play the beta when it first came out. But to be honest, I haven't even kept up with it whatsoever. But I do want to say, pay attention to Web3 games. I don't know if it's now or in 6 months. I think there's going to be a breakthrough soon at some point where there is another. This is one of those narratives. You guys want to follow narratives. Narrative trading is one of the best ways to make money in crypto. I'm dropping a video on how to do it tonight because you want to be in before the big push. So AI and DePIN, the largest narrative that we might actually see of 2024 because of NVIDIA outbeating Wall Street, now one of the largest companies, trillions of dollars, quite literally when it's AI and DePIN. So some of the new narratives I think that are going to pop up. I don't know if you have a different perspective on this.
Well,
but
I dropped gaming.
Web3 gaming. I was going to say as well as Bitcoin's ecosystem we talked about, Chainlink's ecosystem we've talked about. Narratives is something you want to follow. But
I dropped a gaming token yesterday in last night's video. We gave you 5 Cardano altcoins. That just maybe pretty good alts. We looked at article top 3. Then I added 2 of DZ's favorites. Kopi is outperformed Cardano in the past 24 hours. So if you spent a little Cardano, pretty much every single call that we gave you yesterday, you're up a little bit. So that feels good. Just I don't want to put you in an altcoin and then you wake up the next day and you have less Cardano if you're to trade out. So just the fact that everybody's up, even though the markets are down, just feels pretty good because, it's all about gaining sats, gaining Solana, gaining Cardano, gaining BNB. I don't know if BNB is even a thing anymore, but I'm actually looking at some BNB altcoins. Nick, will BNB altcoins come back this cycle? Because no one's really talking about them this time.
I think as soon as CZ starts to get active again on X, BNB altcoins will moon.
Okay. All right. And looks like I've lost internet too, so we should probably just wrap it up. That's all I got for today, folks. Appreciate you letting us know that you are supporting us with your retweets, with your likes, with your comments down below. If you don't know, newer viewer to the show, we bring you live content Monday through Friday, same time every single day, and we're giving you videos 7 days a week. So we're just trying to make you rich. I'm trying to make ourselves rich. We're all just trying to give ourselves financial freedom. We're doing it through crypto assets. We're doing it through education, and we're trying to make it a little entertaining at the same time. So hit that like button. We'd appreciate it.